first, let's get back to Jed Wallace here, because this was quite funny. So if you don't know the backstory of Jed Wallace, he's like the hired gun that was hired, according to Blake Lively's team, to smear her. And they haven't found any evidence yet. And he's been dismissed from this case because he lives in Texas. And the judge agreed that he wasn't under New York jurisdiction, where Blake Lively's lawsuit is. So he's been trying to use that to get out of this. And Blake Lively is trying so hard to convince the judge that he belongs in New York court. And her latest argument, I mean, you can't make this stuff up, is so dumb.
When desperation meets delusion, you get what we're about to dive into today. I'm talking about Blake Lively's legal team making moves so ridiculous, so far-fetched, that even her own supporters are starting to question what's happening behind the scenes. Before we get into this absolute mess, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because this story keeps getting wilder by the day, and you don't want to miss what comes next. Picture this. You're trying to prove someone orchestrated a smear campaign against you. And your best evidence? An Instagram caption. Not just any caption. A misquoted song lyric that you got completely wrong. That's where we are right now with Blake Lively versus reality. Here's what caught my attention when I dug into the latest court filings. Blake's team is desperately trying to prove that Jed Wallace, this crisis management guy they claim masterminded some elaborate plot against her, belongs in New York court jurisdiction. There's smoking gun evidence. Blake posted on Instagram with a caption mentioning New York, so Wallace must have read it and therefore knew she was there. I'm not making this up. But here's where it gets absolutely beautiful. The caption in question referenced Blue Jean Baby New York Lady, which Blake's team tried to use as proof she was in New York. There's just one tiny problem. That's not even the correct lyric. Wallace's lawyers tore this apart with surgical precision. They pointed out that the actual line from Elton John's Tiny Dancer is Blue Jean Baby, LA Lady. LA, not New York. Anyone who's ever seen Almost Famous knows this lyric by heart. So not only is Blake's team basing their entire jurisdictional argument on an Instagram post, they're basing it on a misquoted Instagram post. The level of legal desperation here is honestly breathtaking.
So for Jed Wallace to belong to New York jurisdiction, he needs to either have done business there, or directed actions there, or knowingly caused effect there. That's the definition.
Think about this logic for a second. Even if Wallace did read her Instagram, which there's zero proof of, the fact that someone mentions a location in a social media post somehow creates legal jurisdiction? By that standard, half of Hollywood would be tied to every court in America based on their vacation photos. Now, while Blake's fighting these legal battles with song lyrics, let's talk about what's happening in Toronto. Ryan Reynolds is premiering his John Candy film at the Toronto International Film Festival, and everyone's watching to see if Blake shows up to support him.
So now Blake Lively's latest attempt to tie him to New York is to say that she posted a post on her own Instagram tagging it like she was in New York. So, in her logic, Jed Wallace must have read that and seen that she is in New York, so that's why he must belong in the New York court.
There's this brilliant satirical image making the rounds on Reddit that really captures what's going on here. It shows Ryan Reynolds surrounded by all the people who like him, but instead of actual fans, it's his publicists, crisis managers, and yes, Blake herself. The caption reads, Ryan Reynolds, "We like your money." It's dark humor, but there's truth to it. When you look at Reynolds' recent public appearances and statements, you have to wonder, is he genuinely supporting his wife? Or is he being managed by the same team that's making these increasingly desperate legal moves?
Okay, so keep that in mind. And then Jed Wallace's attorney took this expression that she put on Instagram, which was Blue Jean Baby, New York Lady, or NY Lady. So this is what's so funny in this filing, because they're actually tearing everything apart. And this caption that Blake Lively put under one of her posts saying that it's not Blue Jean Baby New York Lady, is Blue Jean Baby LA Lady. And they're saying this is a very famous expression from Elton John's song, Tiny Dancer, and a line everyone who's ever seen Almost Famous knows about. So the fact that Blake Lively is using a quote that she doesn't even know where it's from and is misquoting this, they're making a lot of fun about that. And also the point is, they can't even prove that Jed Wallace read her Instagram caption. It's so far-fetched. This is what it's come to, you guys.
The timing is interesting too. Here's Reynolds at a major film festival, trying to promote serious work about a beloved comedian, while his wife's legal team is arguing about Instagram captions and misquoted song lyrics. The contrast couldn't be starker. What do you think about this dynamic? Is Reynolds trapped in this publicity nightmare? Or is he an active participant? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this whole situation keeps getting more complex.
That Blake Lively says that she wrote New York on a post on her Instagram. So then Jed Wallace must know that she is in New York, and that's why he needs to be in the New York court system. Also, if that would be true, it's still not enough to connect him to New York. Oh my God. This is so desperate. It's getting worse and worse every day. The things that she makes up. I can't believe that her lawyers are actually filing.
Jed Wallace's legal response is where things get really entertaining. His team didn't just dispute Blake's claims. They dismantled them with a kind of precision that makes you wonder if Blake's lawyers actually read their own filing before submitting it. Wallace has been trying to get dismissed from this case.
Kind of stuff. So just imagine, this is her strongest evidence to connect Jed Wallace to New York, that he must have read her caption, where she was actually misquoting an Elton John song to talk about her blue jeans. I'm sure she was wearing blue jeans in this picture. I don't know where the picture is, but that was the caption. And she's saying, like, he is the man behind my smear campaign, and this is what proves it. I mean, try to make sense of this. I can't. I give up on the logic here. It's just come to a point now where we just have to laugh about it.
Because he operates out of Texas, not New York. For Blake to keep him in New York court, she needs to prove he either conducted business there, directed actions there, or knowingly caused effects there. Her evidence? That Instagram post we talked about. That's it. That's literally their best shot at keeping this guy in the lawsuit. Wallace's team responded with what I can only describe as professional savagery. They not only corrected the misquoted lyrics, but pointed out the absurdity of the entire premise. How do you prove someone read a specific Instagram post? How does posting about a location create legal jurisdiction over someone who might have seen it? The filing reads like a masterclass in legal writing, respectful enough to meet court standards, but cutting enough to expose just how weak Blake's case really is. Here's what stands out to me. If this Instagram caption theory is their strongest evidence against Wallace, what does that say about the rest of their case? Are we looking at a legal strategy built on equally flimsy foundations? Speaking of desperate moves, let's talk about this hit piece that just came out about Justin Baldoni. And when I say hit piece, I mean it in the most literal sense. Someone clearly shopped this story around until they found an outlet willing to publish it. The article, which appeared in a tabloid publication, tries to paint Baldoni as living lavishly while claiming financial devastation from Blake's lawsuit. The headline reads, "Justin Baldoni lives like a prince amid legal drama." Here's the problem. The evidence doesn't match the claim at all. The piece claims Baldoni isn't keeping a low profile, but then admits no one has seen him publicly since the It Ends With Us premiere. They're proof of his high-profile lifestyle? Paparazzi shots of him in Hawaii wearing shorts and flip-flops, and a hiking photo from Sweden. If that's living like a prince, then I need to seriously reevaluate royal lifestyles. The article gets more ridiculous from there. It claims he gets $1,000 haircuts and never misses spa treatments, but they provide zero evidence. No photos of these alleged luxury services, no receipts, no witness accounts. Just anonymous sources making claims that sound like they were written by someone who's never actually met a celebrity. Could this be more obvious planted content? The timing, the lack of evidence, the inflammatory language. It all screams damage control gone wrong. Let's talk numbers for a minute, because this is where the hit piece really falls apart. The article mentions Baldoni's estimated net worth of $6 million like it's some outrageous fortune. $6 million. For context, that's probably less than what Blake Lively spends on her annual wardrobe budget. Ryan Reynolds' net worth is estimated to be over $150 million. We're not exactly talking about Bezos-level wealth here. The article also misrepresents the crisis management costs. Court documents show that Baldoni's team spent around $90,000 on crisis management, not the $9 million the article implies. For a movie with a $25 million budget, $90,000 is a drop in the bucket, not some massive expenditure proving financial irresponsibility. But here's the real kicker. While this article is trying to paint Baldoni as living lavishly and feeling no shame, Blake Lively has been making public appearances, promoting her hair care line, and attending red carpet events throughout this entire ordeal. If we're using lifestyle as evidence of someone's emotional state or guilt level, which is ridiculous, but let's play along, then what does Blake's continued public presence say about her claims of devastation? The logic works both ways, doesn't it? You can't argue that someone's lifestyle proves they're unaffected by legal troubles while simultaneously claiming victim status for someone living an equally public, equally luxurious lifestyle. Here's where things get really interesting. There's been a shift in media coverage lately, and it all seems to center around Taylor Swift's involvement in this case. Swift apparently felt that Blake Lively was trying to manipulate her, specifically that Blake wanted Swift to delete text messages related to Justin Baldoni. When someone of Swift's stature and influence starts distancing themselves from you, it sends a signal to the rest of the entertainment industry. I've noticed publications that were previously supportive of Blake starting to change their tone. Articles that once painted her as a victim are now asking harder questions. Reporters who defended her are now acknowledging facts they previously glossed over. It's like watching the entertainment media realize they backed the wrong horse, and now they're trying to quietly switch sides without looking foolish. This Taylor Swift connection might be the most damaging thing for Blake's public image. Swift has carefully cultivated her brand around authenticity and supporting other women. If she felt manipulated or threatened by Blake, that's not something you easily come back from in Hollywood circles. Think about the power dynamics here. Swift could make or break careers with a single social media post. The fact that she's apparently distancing herself from Blake speaks volumes about what might have happened behind the scenes. This brings me to something fascinating I came across about people pleasers and how they actually behave when challenged. There's this relationship expert who pointed out that people pleasers can actually be terrible listeners when someone brings a complaint against them. The mindset goes like this: after everything I do for them, they're really going to complain about that? Don't they know how much I sweep under the rug for them? Sound familiar? This perfectly describes what we might be seeing with Blake's response to criticism. Instead of listening to concerns about her behavior, she's gone on the offensive, claiming to be the victim while simultaneously trying to control the narrative through legal action and planted stories. If your selflessness leads to self-righteousness, it's no longer kindness. That line really struck me because it encapsulates what we're witnessing. Blake positioned herself as someone who lifts up other women, who supports important causes, who's just trying to do good work. But when that image was challenged, the response wasn't reflection or accountability. It was lawsuits, crisis management, and hit pieces on the people who spoke up. Could this entire situation be the result of a people-pleaser's image being threatened, leading to increasingly desperate attempts to maintain control? Let's step back and look at the bigger picture here. Blake Lively has a credibility problem, and it's getting worse with each passing week. Tomorrow, she's scheduled to speak at a business event in New York about entrepreneurship and the success of her hair care brand. But here's the tell. While other speakers at the event have open comment sections on the promotional posts, Blake's had to be closed.
Think about that.
You're paying someone reportedly $200,000 to speak about their success, but you can't promote them without being embarrassed by the public response. That's not the mark of someone at the height of their influence. The website where you can book Blake for speaking engagements even features a video labeled "My Nightmare Interview" and "The Interview That Made Me Want to Quit My Job." They're literally using negative press to promote her availability. This is what happens when your public image becomes so toxic that even your supporters have to limit public interaction. It's brand management in crisis mode. What fascinates me is how quickly this has all unraveled. A year ago, Blake Lively was still seen as America's sweetheart, the aspirational lifestyle guru who had it all together. Now, her own promotional materials have to include disclaimers about difficult interviews. So, where does this leave us? We're watching someone who built their career on being likable systematically destroy that image through increasingly desperate legal and public relations moves. The Instagram caption argument isn't just a weak legal strategy. It's a symbol of how far removed from reality this entire situation has become. When you're arguing about misquoted song lyrics as evidence of a vast conspiracy, you've lost the thread. But here's what I keep coming back to. Is this who Blake Lively has always been, and we're just seeing it now? Or is this what happens when someone used to being in control faces a situation they can't manage through traditional PR methods? The pattern we're seeing, the planted stories, the misrepresented facts, the attempts to control narrative through legal intimidation, suggests this might be standard operating procedure, not desperate measures. What do you think? Are we witnessing someone's true character being revealed under pressure, or are we seeing a good person making increasingly bad decisions? The comment section is open, unlike Blake's promotional posts, so let me know your thoughts. This story isn't over. With court dates approaching and more documents being unsealed, we're likely to see even more desperate moves in the coming weeks. Make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on because when the next chapter of this saga unfolds, you'll want to be here for it. The entertainment industry is watching, the legal system is involved, and the public is paying attention. Sometimes the most revealing thing about someone isn't what they do when everything's going well. It's what they do when their carefully constructed image starts to crumble. And right now, we're getting a masterclass in how not to handle a public relations crisis. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next breakdown of this ongoing Hollywood disaster.